And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MLO Bros. Luke is at Camp Fitch with his oldest son, so he's not with us tonight, but it is me and Joshua chilling in the studio tonight. Before we get started here, I just want to mention our sponsors down below. We have Breger Machine Industrial Maintenance Machine Shop, and they will do anything from a fancy part for you to just a weld on a piece of farmer's equipment, something small. And then also Valley Insurance Group is a sponsor of the month, as per usual. And also Kushner's. I have to add them down below, but Kushner's in Poland is also a sponsor. All the way there, they'll be our sponsor through Memorial Day. Already getting comments for you, Josh. I'll catch this. Hi, Josh.
Hey, Dave. How are you? Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for coming in today.
Yeah,
buddy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again. It's fun.
Absolutely.
Last time was fun.
So last time, when was the last time you were here?
It was a year ago.
Yeah.
But I want to say it was the month prior. So I want to say last time was May.
May.
I believe.
When's like your busy season?
Pretty much now.
Right now?
Right now is
In the
the
spring?
heart of it. Yeah, right now is baby season. Raccoons are having their babies. Possums are having their babies.
Yeah.
Everything's having their babies.
So there's like,
Yeah.
well, that makes sense. I actually, so since you were last here, I bought a property out in South Range, and I have like 5
nice.
acres, and my house, and I have a barn. And my dog was digging around in the barn, and like underneath one of the bricks was like a bunch of chipmunks,
Chipmunks,
like
yeah.
baby chipmunks. in
Oh
there.
yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. Baby season.
Right. Yeah, it is baby season right
Mhm.
now, and it's calls all day, every day. Is just hearing a noise in my soffit, hearing a noise in my fireplace,
Yeah.
hearing a noise in my attic, and it's typically families of baby raccoons.
Yeah.
I just got out. Trying to think, there was that bear that I posted the other day. That's a young bear from last year.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. That was on a property that I was trapping raccoons, and I had just pulled my traps like 2 days before that.
And you got it?
No, I had just left that property,
Oh.
and the bear showed up after which I'm thankful for, because it probably
Did they
would've-
just like leave it alone, or would they?
yeah, they just watched it.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that it's kind of one of those things. Actually, Dave and I from All Catch,
Yeah.
we talk about it all the time. There's a lot of things that you can avoid having nuisance wildlife problems. A lot of it's like human error.
Yeah.
Like one of them is, if you're going to feed the birds, that's great,
Yeah.
but put them on a schedule from sun up to sundown.
Okay.
And when the sun goes down, time to bring the feeders dog into the house.
Really?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
don't leave them up all night,
Don't leave 'em
because
up all night.
what are you going to attract by?
There's literally nothing that doesn't like bird seed. I mean, from deer to raccoons,
Yeah.
possums, skunks, squirrels, bear. The
Okay.
picture that's on my page, if anybody wants to look at it, that bear was sitting there pulling the bird feeder down to get the seed out. Yeah, and it was just like a yearling bear cub. So
Yeah.
but yeah, that's one of those things that I made a joke on my page with actually David Allcatch. I said, if I had a nickel for every time I told people to put their bird feeders in the house at night,
Really?
I wouldn't even have to trap anymore, because it's just so common.
That makes so much sense. That makes
Right.
so much sense, because growing up, my dad always had feeders out, and he's always battling possums, raccoons,
Right. Yep.
chipmunks, everything.
Yes, absolutely.
But Chelsea actually has a comment for you. She said, "Do you see bears often around here?" Can't be, right?
It's not often.
Yeah.
It's becoming, actually, it's increasing. It
Yeah.
is increasing. The population is increasing. Now, I won't even really like to, I'll retract that. I don't know if the population is increasing or more have just moved into this area because wherever they were before, because the reasons that they move is because they're either out of a den or out of food sources, water sources.
So they're moving.
Yeah, so
because
they're
of
moving.
those
Yeah.
things.
So the last 2 years has actually, the number of sightings have increased. I brought a friend with me.
Yeah,
Real-
we have a friend on the table right now in a baggie. You want to lift that up and show him?
Yeah. Let's see if we can get him out of here. He's waking up.
He's starting to move around. I like that bag though. It's kind of cool.
Thank you.
Oh, whoa. So where did you find him? He's pissed.
He is not very happy right now. He's very sleepy.
You move a little bit this way and they can see it.
This way?
Yeah, you're good right there.
Oh, let's see if I can get his little
I
head
got a
out.
little possum friend here.
There he is.
Can you see him? You see his little mouth?
Here we go.
Oh, look at him.
Yeah, he's not happy.
So
He's
where'd
not.
you get him at?
Actually, came out of a house. It was just in a house. They didn't want it
Okay.
in the house, obviously.
Yeah.
So I got it out of there. They were like, the nice thing is I meet some pretty cool people. They're like, I don't mind that it's on my property. I just don't want it in my living
house.
area, in my living area.
Yeah, that makes
So
total sense.
this one can actually be released back onto the same property that it was captured.
Yeah.
So
So you
Yeah.
you try not to, and tell me if I'm wrong here, you try not to take it off that property if you don't have to? Like just
So-
release it outside and be like, hey, go crazy?
I work through client requests.
Okay.
So if they want it removed, I remove it.
Yeah.
If they want it excluded from out of the home or deterred from the home, then I will do that.
Yeah.
The one thing that I pride myself on, and I know we covered it last year, but it is something I'm still proud of. I definitely pride myself on the fact that I work with everybody's moral compass.
Yeah.
Because the laws are the laws, and
Yeah.
and unfortunately,
With certain things.
I'm not the one that makes the laws. I'm not the
Yeah.
one that writes the laws. But certain animals, if they are taken off of a piece of property, do have to be euthanized.
Yeah.
That's the state law in
And
Ohio.
which ones are those?
Raccoons, pretty much the big ones are anything that can carry rabies and distemper,
Oh, okay, that's
stuff
right.
like that. So
Yeah.
so that does include your raccoons, skunks,
Yeah.
and anything canine, so fox and
Yeah.
coyotes and stuff like that. So.
And you had to speak up the one time because I was wrong. I thought you had to do the same thing with bats, but no, you
No.
relocate bats.
No, you relocate. Well, you exclude them and they relocate themselves. So that's a whole setup process. You have to find out where the bat is flying out of the home.
Okay.
Then you put up an exclusion device there, and then you wait a few weeks, come back. And basically what it does is once they fly out, they can't fly back in.
Yeah.
And then they will just go find another place in nature to inhabit.
Yeah.
So,
they'll just move on.
Yeah. They are very, very protected in Ohio. Bats are.
Okay.
So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But here we got some more comments. Sarah says, I'm on my way. He needs me to love him and name him and snuggle him. I don't know if you want to pause him to snuggle. Do you work with any wildlife rescues?
Yeah, actually, when it comes to like birds of prey, like, hawks, eagles, owls, things like that, they all go to out here in Canfield. They go to Birds in Flight.
Okay.
So yeah, that is one of the places. And then if a client calls me and I tell them the state laws and they don't like hearing those state laws, then I will give them other options of saying, hey, call a local rehabber and see what they can do for you. Because if I do the job for you, I have to obey the law.
So that's basically if somebody catches a raccoon and they're like, "Hey, I don't want this animal to be killed, so take it." Or
So
I want another option.
Right, absolutely.
Okay.
So yeah, I try to, like I said, I try to go with everybody's moral compass as far as how they feel about animals. Because you already know, you and I, Luke and I talk, we're avid hunters, but I understand that there's some people that absolutely don't like that.
Yeah.
They don't like the idea of seeing an animal die. I'm cool with that. I don't judge anybody for that. So
absolutely.
The biggest thing for me is whatever my clients want and whatever they need, I try to oblige that within limits, of course.
Absolutely. And what's for those watching, so that you can help them out if you need to in the future, what's your main areas of like Boardman? Would you say Boardman, Canfield, Poland? Where are you at?
I actually am based out of Trumbull County.
Okay.
But I am all over Mahoning County.
Yeah.
I also do Ashtabula County, Geauga County, parts of Portage County.
All right.
I cover 6 counties.
You're traveling.
So I'm busy a lot.
That's awesome.
But I am in this area quite often, actually. Canfield, Boardman, all those types of places.
Heather Merritt at Birds in Flight Sanctuary is what Paul Ketch said.
Yes, correct. Yep. That's who you'd want to call if you have any birds of prey or birds in general.
Patricia says, I had a bat in my living room on 2 separate occasions.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that does happen. They are starting to wake up. This is the time of year. They were in hibernation. So bats here in Ohio do one of 2 things.
Okay.
Some species migrate and go south, and some don't, and they will stay in your home or in trees and in nature, and they hibernate until around this time of year. Like right now,
they're starting to move back in.
Yeah, they're starting to move back in.
Okay.
And right now, my phone, like I have, I think at least a half a dozen bat exclusion jobs lined up just within the last week. I've had calls every day.
So what types of bats will stay and what types will go?
It really all just depends. The ones that normally stick around that I've noticed, because I get a lot of calls in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's doing a remodeling project, I had this happen. They opened up a wall and a big brown bat fell out. That's a very, very common species that I find a lot.
Yeah.
Is the big brown bat. We also have little brown bats, which are actually not very plentiful anymore.
Okay.
Then we have eastern red-eared bats, the Indiana bat. There's 9 different species.
Yeah, which I could see pictures. I have no idea what any of those even look
like.
They're
really, really cool. That was one thing to grow and learn my company, or grow and learn with my company. I actually spent 8 hours at Ohio State University. They had a thing called the Ohio Bat Fest.
Okay.
And it was all of Ohio's like top leading bat biologists,
that's sick.
Wildlife biologists. And I sat in these seminars and just learned about bats all day. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was really fun. Yeah.
So what are some, the past year since we talked to you last, what were some of your favorite catches? Or
in the past year?
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it or not, but I did catch a mink. I caught a mink in a live cage. That was pretty cool because it's not a very common call that I get.
What does a mink even look like?
It's in the weasel family. So basically, if you have seen a ferret,
Yeah.
They're a little bit smaller than a ferret, and they're all brown.
Yeah, he's moving around.
Just rolling around in there.
If we move him like over here, maybe.
Yeah, see if you can. Is that good? Can you see?
It's okay. If he starts moving, we'll lift him up.
But yeah. So a mink was really, really cool. Got a coyote out of Austintown that actually a woman owned a cat for 10 years. It was like her baby. The coyote, unfortunately, was able to come up on the back porch and got her cat. And
she was pissed.
Oh, she was very upset.
Yeah.
I won't even say that she was pissed. She was heartbroken. You know, she had that cat since it was a kitten. And I was able to actually catch the coyote the next day. So that was really cool.
How'd you catch him?
Well, there's different techniques. In those scenarios, you can use foothold traps or body gripping traps. Because of the area she lived in, I decided to use a body gripping trap because you don't want a non-target animal stepping on one of the foothold traps. Yeah. So with a body gripping trap, you can set it to the height and
of the coyote.
Yeah, the height of the coyote and the dimension
of
the
that's really
coyote.
Cool.
Yeah, so yeah, and we were able to catch it and actually get that situation done. So
did she call you? I'm assuming freaking out when she finally gets.
Oh,
is this thing screaming in this trap?
No, it wasn't. She was very calm about it. She was just like, "Hey."
Not her. I mean the coyote.
Oh no, it stayed quiet. It stayed very, very quiet.
Really?
So, yeah.
And then when you walk up on it, it's not freaking out or anything. Or
occasionally, yeah. When they see you, if you have the body gripping traps are actually a very fast, humane. It's supposed to go around their neck, and it's lights out for that coyote. Oh. But if you do get a bad catch, sometimes their foot will get into it, their leg will get into it, or whatever, and then you have. Then you have to.
So it's not a live trap.
No, it's not. No, it's
immediately dead.
No, it's immediately dead. Yeah, it's immediately dead. Yeah. Especially with a coyote, it's illegal to relocate them. Anyways.
Oh, okay.
And
because of rabies, like you said.
Because of rabies and distemper and parvo and mange and all those type of things. So yeah, in that scenario, we did have to use a lethal trap. So,
what is Anastasia says? What is your favorite animal to catch?
Hands down, snakes.
Snakes.
Love catching snakes.
Why do you like catching snakes?
You know, it's something my uncle Tim, since I was a little kid. He was fascinated in snakes, and his father was fascinated in snakes. His father was a biology teacher, I believe, and my dad too. I could just remember ever since I was a little kid, springtime. Yeah, just going out and catching snakes and handling snakes.
What's a snake trap look like? What are you using?
My hand. My hand. You can. There is snake traps that you can use. Yeah. However, they don't really respond to them too well. So it's better just to go on a really sunny day when they're basking. Yeah. And just hand catch them.
So they go out into the sun in a certain time of day. So like you'll get a call from a customer that'll be like, "Hey, I noticed there are snakes in like a certain part of outside my house," and then you just go check out the scene, wait for them to come out, and then you grab them.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you just and sometimes it takes a couple trips. Sometimes
where do they like to hang out?
They like sunny areas. And feed. They follow feed. So if you have barns or garages or anything, and if there's mice in that area, so every animal, doesn't matter if it's a reptile or a mammal, 3 things: food, water, and shelter. Yeah. That's where they like to be. So
just like humans.
Yeah, just like humans. So yeah, snakes are my favorite though.
I'd almost want snakes in my barn to get rid of the mice.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I'll be honest with you. That's why I have fun with it. I don't understand. I mean, I understand everybody has their phobias and their fears. Yeah. But there's literally nothing in Northeast Ohio that is venomous. I mean, there's 3 venomous snakes in Ohio. Yeah. Which is the timber rattler, the Masaga rattler, and then the copperhead. But the chances of seeing one, I've been in the woods for 40 years. Like my dad has had me in the woods since I was born, basically. The chances of seeing a venomous snake is about slim to none. Yeah. So, the common calls I get are for regular garter snakes, brown snakes, water snakes. The water snakes I get a lot of calls for because they're aggressive. They're not venomous, but they'll make up for it by being super aggressive, and they will bite you. Yeah. So I just had a really, really funny video. If anybody wants to check it out, it's on my business page. My client that had the snake was filming me, and I was holding it, and it was trying to bite my hand. Jeez. And was freaking out, trying to put it in a pillowcase, and I was having the time of my life, and you can hear my client in the background freaking out, screaming, and
having a great time.
And I'm just like, it's okay. Yeah.
Mine came down the chimney into the basement and flew up the living room and hung on the crown molding. I think back to the bats.
Bats.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do get a lot of like isolated incidences is what I call them. Like I get a lot of people that will call me and say, hey, I have a bat in my house. It came through the chimney, or I left the window open, or whatever, and I have to go find it.
Yeah. Once or twice growing up, same thing happened.
Yeah.
I don't know if my dad, it flew in through like the window or what, but I remember my dad with like a sheet, like trying to just like toss it outside.
Right. I remember.
Never came back though.
I remember the first bat job that I did that was a singular bat. And my cousin was with me, my cousin Chelsea, that's on here. She was on here.
Yeah.
She went to help me because it was very late at night. And I was like, hey, this individual lived in Canfield. And I was trying to ask because I'm like, I need to know what ladder to bring with me, what gear to bring with me. And I said, hey, do you have high ceilings? He goes, no. And I was like, okay. And I go into this home in Canfield.
High ass ceilings.
And I'm like, high, not high compared to what? Like a Catholic cathedral? Like this is just a giant size of a football field house.
Right.
And you're looking for a bat that is that big hiding somewhere in this house. We were there for 3 hours and ended up finding it in the shower.
Oh.
It was in the shower hanging on the wall. So yeah, that was super fun though. It was a good time.
That's cool. Sarah says, "Oh, you're wearing our rescue shirt." Thank you. Of course, Sarah. Yeah, it was. I had it on the table here, and I decided to take off my other shirt and throw this on for you. So there you go. I'll catch you. Screw those bats.
He does not like to do the bats.
No,
he does not. Yeah, we work. That's again. I know that I was telling you two people that I love to mention, and I will mention tonight.
Yeah.
That have helped my business grow tremendously is Aardvark Pest Control out of Vienna, Ohio.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, Aardvark Pest Control. He's helped my business grow tremendously because
he's other pests, right?
Yeah, he's
does
like his majority is insects. Yes, and he will occasionally do animal removals, but he's so busy with doing spray treatments. Yeah. So he'll call me and he's just like, "Hey man, I don't have the time for it." You know,
I need to call him because I have like spiders.
Right.
Big ass spiders all around my property. And I took some trees down, but it was so shady and it was just, there were spiders everywhere, man. Spiders and ants.
Oh yeah. Definitely give him a call. Yeah. And then Dave at All Catch, like everybody has their things that they love and they enjoy. He does not like bats. I love messing with bats.
Yeah.
I hate when people call me for groundhogs. They're just, for whatever reason, I have terrible luck catching them.
Okay.
He's the master at groundhogs.
Okay.
So anybody that calls me, I'm like, here, go to Dave. He'll take care of you. Yeah. And then also shrews and moles and voles.
Yeah.
I don't mess with that. I'm so busy with raccoons and skunks and squirrels and bats and all that stuff. So I give all that to him. And I love this industry because it's not cutthroat.
Yes.
It's not cutthroat. Yeah. We all network. Well, if I'm too busy, I'll call Dave. If Dave is too busy, he'll call me. If I'm on a road trip for a weekend, I'll give him stuff. If he's on a road trip for a weekend, he'll give me stuff. Same with Jed at Aardvark. He gives me stuff all the time. And I, try to refer him as much as possible.
It's interesting that you say that because in any industry that can be applied, and you don't have to be cutthroat and you don't have to view it as your competition being better than you or getting more business than you. Right. You can work together
absolutely
and find your niche. And if you send a client to someone who they're going to do a great job because you trust them and that's their area of expertise, that client could come back to you in the future and be like, hey, I wanted to use you for this because you sent me to so-and-so and they did a fantastic job.
Absolutely.
So it's definitely, it doesn't have to be crazy cutthroat.
No.
Like some companies are, and Youngstown tends to be like that and drives me crazy.
Oh, really? Yeah. We're not like that at all. Even Austintown Pest Service.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm saying that properly or not.
Yeah.
But Austintown Pest Service, they don't do wildlife a whole lot either.
Yeah.
So they'll call me too, and they're really nice people too. So it's not cutthroat. It's really great to be in the industry, you know. And it's good to be a small business and be independent.
For sure.
That is the difference. I know that I got myself in some hot water. I made a funny meme on my business page that was not, it mentioned Orkin and Terminex, but it was really poking fun at corporate America. Yeah. Because whenever you have a big fleet company and you're paying people hourly, they're apt to not care about the job like us, like All Catch and myself and Aardvark.
Yeah.
We're independent small businesses.
Yeah.
If we don't succeed, we don't grow.
Yeah.
So we have to take every job that we get very, very seriously, and we have to be successful. When you call big fleet companies, they're going to do the least that they can possibly do just to get paid for that hour that they're there or whatever.
You have the entire reputation of your company on your back,
right?
When you're doing that job.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that there isn't some people that work for those companies that don't care. I'm sure that there is.
Of course.
But yeah. So yeah, it's fun though. What'd she say? 2 chimneys.
I have 2 chimneys. Wait. Let's go to Sarah first. Do bats actually go after long hair? Because that's sketchy shit.
They don't go after anything like that. It's typically accidental. They have echolocation. Okay. So when they're trying to find if they're stuck in your home, they don't really want to be in your home.
Yeah.
They want to find a way out. But their echolocation, like on flat surfaces, tables, walls, etc.
Yeah.
Sometimes it registers wrong when the echolocation comes back to them, and they get themselves lost. So, it's not a vengeful thing. It's not an attack.
Yeah.
It's just you're in the wrong place. They're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And if you got long hair, it is what it is.
Right.
That is why I don't have long hair anymore, because I understand that completely. It is sketchy, So
Patricia says, I have 2 chimneys and the caps were obviously old. Got the caps replaced and no more bats. Makes sense. So many critters due to lack of fur trappers.
Yes, that is definitely true. So, obviously before my time, my dad, I talked about this last year with you guys. I learned all this stuff from my dad.
Yeah.
He was a fur trapper in the 70s. In the 70s, people were wearing fur. They were wearing mink coats. They were wearing a raccoon was used for hoods and stuff like that. Fur was used for a lot. Beaver fur was used a lot. Muskrat fur was used a lot. Well, now, because of synthetic furs and people not wanting to use fur, the trade has gone down. The money out of fur has gone away. So the population, everybody put their trapping gear away because they're like, well, if I can't make any money, why am I going to do it?
Yeah.
So then you have population increase of animals because people are not trapping them or hunting them. So
interesting.
Yeah.
So nobody's trapping. The population is just going through the roof because of it. And
right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sarah says, okay, so I don't have to cover my head, and that's a myth. Yeah, no, they're not attacking you. You're just in the way. Get out of the way. They're just stressed out and trying to get the hell out of your house.
Yep. No.
What other crazy animals other than the mink that you can think of that you've been catching?
Did have a hand in getting rid of a fox for somebody. That was pretty cool. I don't know if you guys saw. I know that happened after I did the podcast with you, but I did catch a albino raccoon for somebody. That was really cool. Yeah. Well, it was actually not albino. It was called piebald.
Okay.
Which is not all the way white. It had it had hints of orange on it.
Yes.
And the eyes were blue, not red.
Okay.
So it wasn't a true albino, but it was still really, really
What's
unique.
a true albino color?
Would be all
eye color.
Red. It would be red.
Okay.
Yeah, they'd have red eyes, and you wouldn't have any orange tint on the fur at all. It would just be straight white.
Okay.
So yeah, that was really cool.
There's a deer. Yeah. There's a deer in Mill Creek.
Yeah.
That has that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of those, honestly, or maybe it's the same one just traveling around. But what's the biggest animal you've caught so far? That's a good question, Jonathan.
Probably the coyote in Austintown. It was pretty big. Yeah, it was a pretty big animal. I would probably say it was at least 45 pounds.
That's big. That's perfect. Lex says, I love bats. Micro and macro Chipotera. Fascinating evolution.
You know what? I'm not really familiar with what she's speaking of. I didn't retain all the information that I learned when I was at Ohio State, but I do agree that bats are fascinating.
Yeah.
They're actually far more intelligent than what we give them credit for, which is really cool.
Yeah.
They're a fascinating animal. I love them. I really do. They're a great animal and very, very beneficial to the ecosystem.
For sure. And it says family for bats.
Family for bats.
Okay. Nice.
I learned something.
Right. To move on a little bit, I love your you've always done a good job of shirt design as well as like logo design and stuff. Like I loved the Viking raccoon you currently have as your profile picture on Facebook. There's some cool designs, man. And you got me hooked on Gorilla Joe too.
Yeah, they're great.
They're so awesome. We went there right after we designed my wife's company shirts, and we just did like our wiener dog with him wearing like a bow tie he always wears, and we just sent him like basically exactly what you said, 2 pictures. This is our dog, and this is the type of design we want.
Right.
And they just threw it together, and
they do. They nail it every time. They nail it every time,
man.
Yeah, it's great. It's really awesome. You need to get him on here. You need to get Joe on here.
I tried.
Did you?
I tried a couple times. I would love to have him on.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
For sure.
Yeah, they do a lot. Well, right now, I know they're really, really busy because
I believe it.
You went there to pick up your shirts, and you've been to their facility.
Yeah.
They do shirts for like legitimate touring bands.
Yes.
Like super popular bands. So they're super busy all the time.
It's a cool spot. It's in like the middle of Youngstown, but like nowhere at the same time.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really a cool warehouse. And they definitely their quality of their shirts
so good.
Is so good. They last forever.
And like my dad, who doesn't give a shit about a brand, he just wants to wear something that's like super comfortable for him.
Right.
Wears our shirt all the time because of how soft it is and how comfy it is and how it doesn't shrink. And so I always catch him wearing
I'm the opposite. That's funny that you're opposite. Like I talk about this all the time with my cousin. Like I have tactile issues. Like there's just certain materials I don't like to feel on my body.
Yeah.
And like when I talk to them at Gorilla Joe's, I'm just like, hey, I have to wear these every day for my business. Like I don't want soft. I don't want silky. You don't like stuff like this?
Yeah,
like no, that's not terrible. That's not terrible. But this is more. Like that's more my style right there.
Yeah.
And I just like regular just cotton t-shirts. Like I don't like any of the soft silky blends. I don't like it on.
I don't like the silky or like almost dry fit blends.
Right.
Hate that stuff.
Hate that feeling.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Yep. But I think this material is good. And this material, as long as it doesn't shrink, I like that a lot. But,
right. Which is kind of funny for what I do for a living because I'll jump in a muddy swamp, but if I have a silky shirt on, I'm like, no.
Yeah, right. I'm not dealing with that for the rest of the day.
Yep.
Let's see, where we at? Lex Calder. I can bet you won't like them in your living room. Yeah.
Not very many people like them in their living room.
If you put up a bat box, if I put up a bat box, do I need to worry about bat guano on roof/siding? So if he like to like have them as pets? Is that what his game plan is to have?
No. So here's the thing.
Outside his house?
Bat boxes are good, like because it encourages them to reside in the bat box rather than in your soffit or in your attic or in your chimney. And as far as the guano goes, it would be wise to clean up after them. If you're depending on where it is and where it's landing.
Yeah.
But honestly, outside in open air wouldn't be as threatening as like when I get people that have
in your attic,
in the attic, and that air is circulating in the home. It actually causes a disease called histoplasmosis, and it will shut down your lungs. Like it can be lethal. But outside in the open air, I mean, me personally, I would want to pick it up because depending on how long they reside there, it could get pretty messy. And it makes great garden fertilizer too. It makes super good garden fertilizer. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy how that it like the diseases that'll shut down your lungs is in there dropping. That's wild.
Yes.
Sarah says, I caught a snake once. He cheated though, so I let him go. Cute. Very cute. Lex says, sorry, order Chipotera, not family. College was a long time ago. Histoplasmosis, but can be used for compost after a year. Yeah, exactly what you said. In that we agree, they are hard to catch. Will it damage the roof or siding? I mean,
I don't know. It will discolor it. It will definitely discolor it. And even like if they're exiting and entering out of somebody's siding, you can see where the bats are entering and exiting during the daylight because it'll look like a mascara run. Like if they have a light colored house, it'll look like a mascara run because of the urine and their body oils and all that stuff. So it will discolor stuff. And I would imagine, feces is, pretty harsh in general. So it might damage it. I know it will discolor it. So
Okay, it's
Yeah,
going on
so-
the back of the shed. And thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I encourage like bats. I love bats. If people would put up more bat boxes, that would be great.
Yeah. Give them a place to go, man.
Yeah, give them a place to go. Yeah,
To make your job easier.
It would. Yeah, it really would. Yeah, it
Yeah.
really would. It's pretty fun though. I just actually bought my grandfather one for his birthday recently. So
Yeah.
as kind of a joke because he's got bats in his house, and I was like, well, maybe this will encourage him to
Go somewhere else.
go somewhere else and reside there.
What are they typically eating?
Bugs. That's why they're so beneficial. A lot of mosquitoes. They eat a ton of mosquitoes and other bugs. So they're very, very nice to have, especially like where I live. I live out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So and it's all swamp around me. So the mosquitoes are horrendous out where I am, and bats love to eat the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're awesome.
Do you guys do inspections?
It
to
is,
see where the bats are coming in at? They seem to gravitate to my basement. Drives the dogs nuts.
So actually, it is state law that if I'm going to do an exclusion process for somebody, that I do have to do what is called a bat watch. And that's exactly what it sounds like. I do show up on the property a little bit before the sun goes down so I can take a look at the house before it gets dark. And then literally I'm out there with a flashlight watching to see where they fly out of 110%, because the exclusion devices that I place up there are not very large, because obviously a bat's not very large. So you have to be super accurate. And so, yeah, you do inspections. I definitely do inspections. I did see one that was, is it illegal?
To kill bats.
Yes.
That's what I was told.
That it is 100% illegal.
White nose syndrome?
White nose syndrome is a disease that bats get that is actually really hard. That was one of the things that they said was really hard on the species, the little brown bat. Said that the white nose syndrome was one of the causes.
What's it do to them?
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But I
Just
do
kills
know.
them, kills them off?
It's. I'm not sure if it's a mite or what it is,
Hmm.
but yeah, I just know that they did talk about that. Yeah.
He said illegal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Killing them. Yeah, they're protected. All bats are protected. You can't kill them. Like, even if you have that one in your house, you think it's okay to like take a racket to it.
No, you got to catch it.
You got to
Or
catch it
outside.
and take it outside. So
Came from China cargo ship.
yeah.
Interesting. It's always cargo ships. A plague was the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah. So where'd you catch this little guy at?
I believe that was in Mahoning County. Trying to remember though.
He is just chilling. So is this little baby? I'm
So
assuming,
he
right?
is, if there's a size chart that you can look up, he is roughly 12 to 14 weeks old. So he's pretty young. He loves that pouch.
When did you get him?
Just a couple days ago. State law. I can only hold animals for 4 days.
Yeah.
So this is day 2.
So what do you do? Like, what are you doing with it? Like with him tonight? Where do you take him?
I'll release him back on the property that he was caught on.
Okay.
So,
Hi, buddy.
I probably wouldn't have brought one, but you said on your post, I'm holding a baby possum. So I was like, well, I guess I have to go find one now.
Look at this. Can I lift this up?
Yeah, absolutely. He will show teeth, and he will drool, and he will look aggressive, but he will not attack.
Trying to see if I can get it. So you guys can see it.
If you actually work from the back of the pouch and kind of like a sock.
To flip out. Hi, buddy. Oh, you can see him. There he is in all of his glory.
He's getting his 15 minutes of fame.
Here you go, buddy. See it in there?
Showing his teeth.
Such pretty teeth you have. Such pretty
right.
teeth.
They're a really cool animal. It's North America's only marsupial, which means they have pouch birth.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty positive that's why he likes it in there so much. So they're really cool.
We can't see the baby. Did we help him up? I'm on my way. Oh my god. It's the cutest thing ever. Is it illegal to kill groundhog or rabbit on your property with a pellet gun?
No, well, you have to check check your laws in your city limits on firearms.
Okay.
That's the only thing. But as a homeowner or property owner, you are allowed to handle nuisances on your own.
Huh.
Yeah. So
He's just hangry.
yeah,
Possum cannot carry rabies due to low body temperatures.
that is
right?
correct. That is
So they
correct.
can't get rabies.
They can't. They can contract
I didn't
it.
know that.
They can contract it actually. So that's partially true, but not totally true. They can contract it,
It
but
won't
it doesn't
affect them.
but it doesn't survive and it doesn't affect them because it dies rapidly within them. So
Huh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
FM groundhogs.
yeah, but yeah, groundhogs. I don't like them. I don't like them. I don't like catching them. I do. If people call me and they really want me and they really need me, I will definitely help them out. But David Allcatch is definitely better at the groundhogs.
The groundhogs.
Yeah.
Huh.
So he leaves the bats to me and I give him all the groundhogs. So
Right.
yeah. But yeah, they're yeah, and the thing about possums, though they don't get rabies, the interesting about possums and some of the other stuff that we can talk about, I don't know how long we have, but
Ooh, an hour. You're good.
but a lot of people advocate for the possum because they say that they eat a lot of ticks. That's completely false and inaccurate. Recent biological studies have shown that ticks are like the last thing on the list. You got to figure if you ever seen a deer tick,
Yeah.
they're a tiny little thing.
Yeah.
They're going to find the first food source that is more convenient for them. They are
Okay.
not going to make it their priority to go after ticks. So but on the opposite end of that, the one thing when this little guy does grow up,
Mm-hmm.
they are avid egg eaters. So how that affects nature is the number one thing here in Ohio specifically that eats a lot of ticks is our wild turkeys. This
Okay.
guy has a huge impact
on turkeys.
on the
'cause it
turkey
like the eggs.
population because when they start nesting
Yeah.
and laying eggs, this guy and the raccoons come along and dig up the nests and
No shit.
kill all the eggs.
So
Yeah,
if there's so there's not going to be a lot of turkeys around if there's possums too.
possums, raccoons, there's so many predators that love to eat eggs.
Yeah.
Rats eat eggs too.
Yeah.
So many things like to eat eggs, snakes, so many things do. But yeah, it's one of those things that is kind of like I like to have fun on my page.
Yeah.
Like I make jokes, I make memes, I
Yeah.
make funny designs, but I like to educate people, and it's kind of like I'm trying to find that balance on my page because it's like a majority of people are there for the memes,
Yeah.
which is fine, and that's cool because it's still getting me exposure,
Yeah.
and they're still supporting me, and I super
Absolutely.
appreciate that. But I feel like some of the real serious stuff that I post kind of gets like lost in translation and just kind of goes to the wayside.
Well, yeah, you gotta same with us. I mean, you gotta you almost like reel them in with the funny stuff,
Right.
and then you at one point they're gonna be like, "What's this guy actually do?"
Right.
And then when they're
Right.
like, "Oh, he's wildlife removal." Well, if I ever need somebody, I'll just call him, and I'll just
Right.
keep. In the meantime, I'll just keep looking at the memes,
Yeah,
and then something will come up, and then they'll refer you. you know?
Right. And
So that happens with us too all the time.
it's one thing that I pride myself on too. It's really helped me grow a lot. Like, because when I first met you guys and I came on this podcast, it was like I was like, oh, here's tracks and here's scat and here's all this serious stuff. And now I'm like, here's a meme making fun of everybody on Mother's Day. Here's a meme making fun of like here is a raccoon killing a racist Nazi guy,
Right.
like whatever.
Right.
And it's fun. I really enjoy that a lot. And the people that are on my page, like, yes, I can thank Aardvark and I can thank Dave's Allcatch, Allcatch LLC. But literally, my clients on my page, they defend me like to the hilt. Like if
Mhm.
somebody is talking trash,
Mhm.
they will tag me relentlessly on posts. When
Yeah.
the second somebody posts, I have a groundhog, I have a raccoon,
Yeah.
I have a possum.
They're always there for you.
They're
Yep.
always there for me, and it's because I like to be relatable and I talk to my people. If people message me, I don't wait 2 or 3 days to get back to them.
Exactly.
you
Customer
know?
service, man.
And yeah, I have a great following on my page.
Okay, where we leave off? How can I handle all these groundhogs? Sorry, guys, I'm trying to catch up on comments. As long as they have rabies shots, they'll be fine. I'll come handle all the groundhogs. Love them. Awesome. Thank you. Horses in my ankles walking through a field do not like groundhogs. My friend has a tree next to his house Raccoons climbed the tree and invaded his attic, had babies in his attic, did a
Yes.
ton of damage.
They do a ton of damage.
Yeah.
Not only do they just damage your insulation
Yeah.
and your wood and all that stuff, but their feces and urine, if they're in there for a lengthy amount of time,
Yeah.
it's can get pretty nasty up there. Absolutely.
Can rabbits and their droppings affect the health of my shepherd?
Not that I'm aware of. I've never heard. Now, possibly consuming a large amount would be unhealthy for a dog, but I've never heard of any cases of it having an effect on,
Interesting.
That is a good question, and that actually makes me want to research that a little bit more and learn about that.
Kirk says, what kind of animal rips the heads off of cats and chickens but doesn't eat them?
Oh man, honestly, normally that's 3 different culprits. That would be your mink, your weasel, or your raccoons. Yeah. So
they'll eat the animal but leave the head.
I'm sorry. What
kind of animal rips the heads off the cats and chickens and don't eat them? Like any part of them?
I'm not sure about the cats. Cats, I will tell you this much, that I do know owls. They did a study on owls recently where they found, I'm not sure what the species is, so I don't want to, say anything false, but they were in a nest of an owl and they found a lot. I cannot remember the number, but it was a large number of cat collars.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Owls will eat cats. Out where I'm at, we have so many birds of prey. We have hawks, we have eagles, we have owls. And now
eagles are so freaking cool.
But also, as far as mammals go, when it concerning cats, coyotes and fox. Coyotes and fox will eat a cat in a heartbeat.
Really?
If they're hungry enough and they don't have another food source.
Yeah.
And it's an easy catch and an easy meal. Absolutely.
Just possibly get roundworms, but rarely.
Roundworms. Yeah, from the from the rabbit feces.
Oh, okay.
Not as likely as now. The one that would be worse than rabbit would actually be raccoon feces. It's very well known that it carries roundworms in it. So if your dog is consuming it or getting around it, that's really bad news.
Do possums do that or raccoons? I don't know what he's talking about there. Thanks for all the good info. Absolutely.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks for tuning in. And he does all of this by himself. He's the goat. They're backing you up.
Yeah. I am a one-man show. A one-man show. Every once in a while, I'll bring my dad on some jobs.
Yeah.
Just for the fun of it. I did have a really good friend of mine named Adam. He helped me on a few jobs that were like I did a full attic restoration because it was a bat job. Every inch of insulation had to come out of that home because it was covered in bat feces.
Guano,
yeah. And
so you'll go in and actually clean the attic out.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's 8 to 10 hours a day, full hazmat gear, full respirator, and it, in this time of year when it's 90 outside, it's 130 in an attic. And we had a couple days of getting bat feces out of there. He was a good kid. He was a good help. He was fun. Yeah. But primarily I'm by myself all day, every day. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Do you do anything with cats, like feral cats?
No, I don't do anything with feral cats. No dogs either.
Lex says a human would do that to those animals.
Human.
Sarah says, no, I've had rabbits and they have ate their poop. As long as they're wormed, you're fine.
There you go.
Luke, is there anything you can do to help with 44 6th grade boys infesting my cabin at Camp Fitch? They smell, they don't sleep, and they are really, really loud.
Well, you should go around the lake if there is one there and catch some snakes and put them in the cabin. They'll leave out of there pretty fast.
That'll do it. I helped when you had surgery.
Yes. Actually, when I had my appendix removed, I was back to work like a couple days later, and somebody had a bunch of the most amount of raccoon feces I've ever seen in an attic in all of my jobs. And Dara was up in there in the attic with me and helped me remove a bunch of feces.
Can I come work for you? I'll leave my office job so fast. I don't do spiders though.
Well, I don't do spiders or insects either, so that works perfectly.
Companion animals are dog warden only. That makes sense.
Yes.
Noises in my attic only when it's hot. Never winter.
Huh.
Working contract, just got a few mice. What could it be?
Well, here's the thing. I don't like to, to answer that question online. I don't want any
without scoping it out.
Yeah, without scoping it out. I don't want to be inaccurate. It would definitely be worth an assessment to go up there and investigate what it could possibly be.
Noises in my attic only when it's hot, never winter.
But if it's only, I will say this: it would have me lean more towards bats, because obviously bats are they're not active in the cold,
wintertime.
In the cold. So it might potentially be bats. But you have to figure too, depending on what kind of soffit you have and what kind of siding you have, other things can move in at any time too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'll catch this red squirrel.
Red squirrels.
Sarah says, I'll submit my resume.
All righty.
That's awesome.
I'm ready for it. I could use some help.
So what's next, man? What are you doing next?
What's next?
Any cool jobs coming up? Anything? Any
bats.
cool merch?
A lot of bats
are
coming up. I have a lot of bat removals coming up. Actually, I did want to, I don't know if you noticed on there. I know I sent it to Luke. I don't know if I sent it to you, but I've been working with, as far as not a different printing company. I will always use Gorilla Joe's, but a good friend of mine is an artist. Her name is Kendall Farrell.
That's sweet. I've always wanted to do that.
And she is, she's the one that helped me do the anti-racist one.
Yeah.
She drew all that by hand. And like, I literally just gave her a list of all this like crazy nonsense of, I'm like, hey, I want this like white trash racist guy getting mauled by animals. So I can call it Sonner Solutions Racism Removal. Yeah. And like what I had in my head is what she put on the paper, like via text.
Really cool. Yeah.
And I don't want to give it away, but she's actually working on another one for me that I'm pretty stoked about, because I'm a horror movie fan and I like spooky stuff.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that last time.
We are working on all I'm going to say about it is we are working on a Sonner Solutions cryptids, so things like Bigfoot, Mothman, Chupacabra, stuff like that.
What did you do? I want to say earlier this year, late last year, you did one. It was like 4 different types of.
With the green and the red, and so that was inspired by Night of the Living Dead.
Yes.
And so I just called it like Night of the Living Dead critters. And that was with a coyote, a bat, a raccoon, and a possum. Yeah, and that was literally, I looked at the 1968 poster of Night of the Living Dead, looked at the lettering, looked at the layout, because it's all black and white, and the lettering is green. And I was like, I want to do this poster, but not zombie humans. I want to do zombie animals.
That's right.
Actually, I gave that idea. I submitted that idea, and I kind of gave them the layout, but Gorilla Joe's knocked that out of the park. They were just like, I was like, hey, this is what I want. I was like, black and like negative, black and white animals laid out like this. Here's the Night of the Living Dead poster. I want the animals laid out similar, and they nailed it.
When did you come up with that Viking design too? Like that was when you went to like a Viking festival.
I did a Viking. I did sponsor a Viking festival.
That was so sweet too. I was looking at those pictures.
That looked awesome. It was super fun. Had a really good time. Had a really good turnout. Had a really good response.
Yeah.
Dara and her mom, they made tumbler cups with that logo on there.
Yeah.
That Viking Fest was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They were almost completely gone Friday and were sold out like Saturday morning.
That is a sick design. I love that design.
Yeah. That's a lot of people's favorites. That was one of my earlier designs. Like my original one was a bunch of animal prints in the size of the animal prints. And then I went from there to the blue outlined raccoon. And then I think I don't remember the order anymore, I think I did the punk rock one with the suicidal tendency letters. And then I think I did the Viking one after that. That was pretty cool. The only one that missed, which was shocking to me, was the Harry Potter one. Like,
did you do a Harry Potter one?
Yeah, I did a Harry Potter logo. And I thought, when I post this, That's not my thing at all. But I love to hit demographics of everybody. You know, I'm like, should be an easy thing. I'm like, instead of putting.
Did you do like the 4 houses?
Yeah, the 4 houses.
I remember that one too.
Yeah, I did.
That was cool.
And like, and I thought because through a friend of mine, she's a massive Harry Potter fan, and like showed me that like that's a huge deal. Like to me, I'm in the horror world, like horror movie stuff. I don't know anything about Harry Potter, so I was like, well, let me see if this goes well, and like it just flopped. It just kind of flopped.
Interesting.
Yeah, it flopped,
That's
and I was like,
whenever you think it's going to do really good, it usually doesn't.
Yeah,
whenever you think it's going to do okay, it does great.
That's the one thing though that even if they don't turn them into shirts and they don't sell, aside from what I really do with animal removal, like I love marketing and designing. And like the logos are super fun.
I can totally tell.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Dara says I have all of his shirts. Like
she does.
Every one he's ever printed out, except the Only Traps shirts, which I'm dying to have him get printed up in mass.
I forgot about that one. Did you? I don't know. I know that you don't have time and you guys are busy, but so I talked to somebody and I had this idea because I like to play on popular things, you know? And I was like, well, everybody talks about OnlyFans. Everybody knows what OnlyFans is, you know? I was like, I need an Only Traps logo that looks just like OnlyFans. Yeah. And I made a slogan and it was like, I'll follow me and I'll help you with your wildest life. Yeah. Because it does still pertain to helping you with wildlife. And then I put my website at the bottom. And there's a couple people on my page. Every time my face is in a photo and I'm holding a baby animal or whatever it is, everybody's like, oh, that's Only Traps material. You know, like it's a website, like it's onlytraps.com, you know, and they're like, oh, we're getting spicy on Only Traps, you know? So so it's been kind of fun with people. I actually was holding another baby possum with that Only Traps shirt on, and it got like 100 and something likes within a few hours. It was crazy. Like, and then like 10 people are like, I want that shirt.
Stupid OnlyFans. We had our podcast. We went to we tested out the subscriber platform through Facebook. Like we just turned it on and allowed people, if they want to subscribe, they can. But it literally, they get nothing extra. But some people were like, oh, they're going to start only allowing you to watch the podcast if you subscribe. You know, they're going to start it's going to be like a pay to watch type program. We're like, no, we'll never do that. We'll never charge you. But it sounds like OnlyFans or something, and maybe we'll make an OnlyFans account and start posting our feet just to, and then steamrolled from there. People were sending us pictures of only feet, so stupid.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's
ridiculous.
Fun, but stuff like that, I just my thing is I do like to make people laugh and smile on my page, you know, and I try to stay current with stuff, but there's stuff that I don't know about, you know.
Yeah. Sarah's got a good question for you. I think we talked about this a little bit last time, so we don't have to go crazy into it. But do you get a lot of criticism? I'm an animal lover, but I get shit for hunting. A lot of people don't want animals hurt or euthanized.
I'm glad that she asked that. That's a really good topic. I literally have gotten a death threat every year that I've been in business.
I believe it.
I have gotten whenever,
which is interesting because it's kind of the opposite of what they're going for with hey, I don't want you to kill the animals, but I'll kill you.
Right. Yeah. I've literally gotten death threats when I advertise on local groups, whether it is Austintown or Canfield or whatever, Warren out by me, Warren and Liberty and all that stuff out by me. I'm not saying anything about coming to your house and killing anything. I'm just saying this is Sonner Solutions. If you need my help, let me know.
Yeah.
You can guarantee one person will leave a paragraph of how I'm a killer and a psycho and a sicko and, all this stuff. And I try to address it on my page, and I tried to address it a year ago on this podcast. I'm like, listen, I understand that your moral compass is telling you that you don't like this, but go after the state. Don't go after me. I do not make these laws. Yeah. I do not, I don't come up with those laws. Those laws were there long before I was even in this business. So if you want to go after Congress or if you want to go after the ODNR, yelling at me is wasting your breath.
Well, to me, that's nothing more than uneducation, because you've said it before that you're going to try and work with whoever, whenever they have a situation, whenever a raccoon's in their attic or bats in their attic, whatever, you go to their house and you say, hey, these are the options you have. These are what I can do. These,
Right.
if you don't want me to do it this way, I won't do it this way. I'll do whatever I legally have to, but here are your options.
Right.
And like you said, you'll work within their moral compass if that's what they want you to do.
Absolutely.
So that's, to me, that's nothing more than non-education when they say that you're a killer and all this stuff, because they've never actually talked to you. You're just some random person that's just spewing crap. Like, that makes me so mad.
It is. It's just miseducation.
Yeah.
And, lack of actual understanding. And, the one thing I do want to discuss, and hopefully people will listen to this eventually, I get a lot of people that message me about relocation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's the thing. This is kind of one of those things that I call facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah.
Because this is what it is. When you relocate an animal, the top biologists have done studies. Over 80% of animals, does not matter the species. We're not just talking about a raccoon or a groundhog. We're talking about relocating animals in general. Over 80% of animals that are relocated die a slower, more cruel death than if I were to dispatch it on somebody's property that day.
It honestly makes sense, though. I mean, it really does.
Here's the thing. It's kind of like me blindfolding you and putting you in the woods and saying you have to find food, shelter, and water, and hope that that shelter is already not inhabited by something else that is going to fight you or kill you. Food, whatever species it is. So there's studies that have shown that 80%, and I get a lot of people that are like, well, I want you to come to the house and I want you to catch this whatever, and I want you to relocate it so it lives a happy life. And I'm like,
that doesn't work like that.
That is a slow, cruel death to that animal. And a lot of people think that relocation is the answer, and it's really not. Not only do the healthy animals die, but I tried to explain it the last time, I believe, maybe I didn't. But with diseases, when an animal has a disease, if I take an animal from your backyard that I know has distemper, rabies, mange, anything like that, and I take it back to Trumbull County, every fur-bearing animal that comes in contact with that animal can potentially get that disease.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're moving diseases around.
Yeah, you're moving diseases around. So here's the thing. If you were to say, hey, Josh, I really don't want you to kill this thing, relocate it, to make you feel better about that one raccoon, I killed dozens. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice job, Josh. Thank you. Tried to help with topics. Disappointed with lack of Mill Creek deer when everyone we go to there want deer off their property.
Right.
Oh, so you guys get a lot of calls about deer.
I have gotten
removal from Mill Creek Park properties.
I've not particularly for Mill Creek.
Yeah.
I have had some calls for nuisance deer.
Shit.
But that's a lengthy process because you have to get the ODNR involved. Mm-hmm. They have to actually give you the permits to take care of the situation. And 9 out of 10 times, I don't want to say 9 out of 10 times, but the percentage is pretty low that they're actually going to permit you to help with the situation. They're going to come out there, do their evaluation, tell the homeowner to spend thousands of dollars on deterrents and fences and all this stuff, and say, okay, we solved that problem.
When with the deer, I mean, if it's a nuisance like that and it's a deer, there's no you could just shoot a deer, right?
Yeah. Well, the property owner can.
Yeah.
If they get the proper permits.
Property owner. Yeah.
Yeah. If they get the proper permits, you cannot just, without getting a permit out off a season, you still have to get a permit. You still have to contact the ODNR. Yep.
Not as often due to the fact that they don't want critters in their home. Then it went to the Jack Daniels shirt after the Blue Raccoon.
Oh yeah. I forgot I did a whiskey logo
Sarah
too.
Says, "What's OnlyFans?"
I don't know.
Renee,
I only have an Only Trap site.
Right. Fabulous idea. Do it. I'm in dog rescue. I have been threatened, especially when I posted a photo of me with my deer and turkey that I bagged. I took those posts down for the dog rescue's sake. I would bet that someone had something in their house that would not be an issue. They would be calling you to come help. Yeah.
Right.
When we were talking about the topic of people who were being rude. Yeah, of course. And then they have nobody to call. And they're like, oh, now I got to call this guy.
The thing that baffles me about that, think about this for just a second, and I'll try to not make it too lengthy, but I see a lot of that hatred coming on social media. Those people are posting on social media. But think about this for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think that they're posting that social media from? From their home. What is their home on? It is on land. Okay. What is that land? That land was once woods at some point in time in this world.
Yeah.
You know, so you're advocating, I hear the phrase, they were here first a lot.
Right.
The animals were here first. If you are so adamant and such an advocate, why are you taking up space in a home? Mow your home down.
Yeah.
Let it grow back to wild.
Make it be wild so that the animals can have it back. Yeah. By having a house on that property, you are killing animals because they could have potentially occupied that land, and by not having that land to occupy, you're potentially killing animals. Yeah, it's just it could go. You could go on forever.
Yeah, you can go on.
Yeah.
And like I said, but the one thing that I will say about this, whether you're anti-killing or pro-killing, people need to learn to compromise and learn how to disagree without conflict.
Without being assholes.
Exactly.
And not be dicks about it.
Exactly.
Totally.
That's, and that's my thing. Like, I don't mind if people disagree with what I do for a living. That's fine. That's great. And
just treat you with respect.
Just treat me with respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Patricia says if they don't want them killed, they have to be released on your property. What is the reason for that?
I wish that I can tell you what the reason is for that. And it's one of those rules and one of those laws that is so ridiculous. So you call me and say, Josh, I have a raccoon on my property, but I don't want it killed.
Okay.
If I trap it, the only place I'm allowed to legally let it go is back on your property. Somewhere.
Yeah.
But it cannot be off of you. It can't be the neighbor's yard.
Yeah.
Can't be the neighbor to your right. It's got to be on your property.
You get multiple calls where like you're taking the same raccoon from like the back porch to the back of the property and then back and forth and back and forth?
No. So here's what I do with that. So here's the thing that I do offer to clients. So if you are very, very adamant, I do not want this animal to be killed. What you do, if it's permissible, if it's a feasible option, you can do an exclusion. Okay. So if you have a raccoon in your attic, there is a way to exclude and scare that raccoon out of your attic.
Okay.
And then you or myself or your handyman will come and fix that place that is open.
So that it can't get back in.
It can't get back in. So you are legally allowed to exclude animals, and then where they go on their own is
they figure it out.
It out.
And they're still familiar with like the land.
And the area.
Yeah.
It's not like you're taking them counties or states away, But yeah, exclusion is an option for people.
It's ignorance. Shitty.
Yes.
Deer damage permit.
Yes, deer damage permits.
Depending where you're at, you need farm permits as well.
Yes, that is true.
Crop
damage.
Thanks for the stars, Chelsea. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
I've learned so much more than I ever wanted to about deer management. Lex has been studying the. I see him posting all the time. He's been studying the Mill Creek deer and the data that they gathered, and he's been clapping back at some people that were combating the. You heard about what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
Everybody has.
And again, the thing is, if you are pro leaving the deer alone, I would like to see something more solid than I like to watch them.
Yeah. Or Luke always complains about, they say, well, I've never seen any deer, so there's no deer in the park. Like I've never seen any deer, so there's not a problem. It's like, it doesn't work like that.
No,
like,
it doesn't.
And that's not a good argument.
Yeah. And that's not a good argument because it's like, well, are you spending an hour in that park, or do you drive past it every single day, or do you hike it for hours on end?
Yeah.
So maybe I'm sure I could probably drive past Mill Creek right now and not see a deer
because
I'm driving past it at 60 miles an hour or whatever the speed limit is.
Yep.
That's not a valid argument.
And then I also get why people are frustrated if like you live on Mill Creek Park and they're feeding those deer and they look at them like they're pets, and they're feeding them on their property.
Right.
You're gonna have all these hunters come in and kill all your pets, basically.
Right. But I get that.
Yeah, and I get why they could be frustrated with that, but at the same time, it's like there aren't supposed to be that many deer that they're dependent on you to feed them.
Well, and then here's the thing: you got to think what that's doing is, in a sense, it's domesticating the deer.
Yes,
and it's it's preventing them from being their wild selves and actually foraging for food that they should be foraging for.
Long term, you're creating dogs.
Yeah, basically. And here's the thing: adult deer is one thing, but the new generations of fawns that are just like, hey, I go to this feeder and I'm fed every day.
Yeah.
What if that homeowner moves or passes or
die?
They're not going to know. I mean, they'll figure it out eventually, but it's just not, to
Natural.
get overboard with feeding wildlife is just not healthy for wildlife.
Yeah. That's really interesting. It's a good argument too. Deer, like any species, where's my mouse at? There it is. Deer, like any species, have to be managed due to lack of predators. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
If we're not going to kill them and there's no animals killing them,
absolutely.
How are they supposed to?
Absolutely.
How's the circle of life supposed to work?
Yeah, absolutely. And and then the thing is all the people that are advocating for they like to watch them. Like, yeah, every animal is a beautiful animal to me.
Yeah.
And they all do have their place in nature.
Yeah.
But when it's in a park and it's not so much nature anymore and they're decimating all the plant life.
Yes.
And not only that, but if a disease, if they get a mite or if they get like chronic waste disease and they're so herded up together, that disease is going to pass so rapidly from deer to deer to deer.
It's going to wipe them out.
It's going to wipe them all
quickly
out, So it's kind of like, to me, I don't want to get too political and I'm not saying that I'm siding with one or the other.
Yeah.
But I will say that if it's managing versus just letting them all get out of control, then I would say manage them. I would say manage.
Yeah. And from that, like, people are saying they're overestimating the numbers of the deer in the park.
Right.
Even if you're, I think it was like 8 times overestimating it, it's still too much for what the ODNR says there should be in that park.
Right.
So there's definitely something. Like, you definitely need to get it under control.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of what you do and what everybody agrees to do to get it under control, because it is out of control.
And again, these people, like I said, if you think about it, it's just not healthy for the deer because they will eventually eat themselves out of, they will forage that place to death.
Yeah.
Whether it's the plant lives that they eat, the acorns, whatever's in that park. I don't really go to that park, so I don't know much about it. I know that there's flowers and stuff there.
Yeah.
But once they decimate all that, then what?
Well, yeah, the representative from the park who was in here, he was basically saying they'll then turn to like stuff they're not supposed to be eating, like leaves and like whatever they can just stick in their face. And then they start to like die out.
They'll start to die off.
And that's like starving.
Yeah.
Would you rather starve to death or get shot?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. They will end up starving to death.
Yeah.
Yep.
Renee says, I'm happy to see you on this pod. I'm building my knowledge base on things I had no clue about. Awesome.
I appreciate that a lot.
Thanks for tuning in, Renee. We appreciate
you. And if you go to Sauner Solutions Nuisance Wildlife Removal on Facebook or Instagram, I post on both of those pretty regularly. More so Facebook than Instagram.
Yeah.
I feel like Instagram is more for just like people in bathing suits and like buff dudes.
Right.
Like
guys that are huge.
Yeah, guys that are huge and jacked.
Girls that are very pretty.
Instagram and trapping just doesn't go together,
Right. But no, yeah. So let's see. Sarah says this. There's been many times I'm driving to work and it's awful. Talking about the deer.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you so much for tuning in. Go check out Sauner Solutions on Facebook. And if you need, get his number off of there. Is your number?
Yeah, my number's posted on there.
So get his number off there. If you ever need him, give him a call. He'll come out and try and educate you along the way, as well as help you out. And then also, thank you for tuning into the MLO Bros. If you haven't already, go down below, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, help us out. Check out both of our sponsors, as well as Kushner's. And also, MLO Bros stands for Mortgage Loan Originator Brothers. If you're in need of a home loan, refinance, or purchase, please give us a call. We'll take care of you. We'll get you financed. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate you. And you want to answer this question before you go?
What is it?
Do you remember the skunk at the Cleveland Browns game that was drinking beer?
Yes. Did you see that?
No.
So there was I can't remember what news channel it was. Dude was sitting there in some like vacant section. It was just him sitting there. There was a skunk eating like nachos and beer. He was literally drinking out of empty beer cans. And so he works for a news company.
Yeah, just takes a picture.
No, he was filming live on Facebook, and I'm messaging the dude. I was like, "Hey, don't approach it fast.
Yeah,
stay calm." I was like, I'm like, I know you're in a stadium right now, but don't like clap at it to get it to go away. I said, you're going to get sprayed if you approach it too fast, And I was hoping, I was like, tell some security that I will come out there, because no other wildlife person was, watching this. It was me watching it. And the guy's like, I'm trying to get a hold of security to have you come out to the Cleveland Brown Stadium, and I was like, this would be awesome. This will blow me up.
Marketing.
Right? This will blow me up. And unfortunately, it did not happen. You should end the podcast by taking him out yourself. I think you'll be all right. Is his face out?
There he is. Hi, buddy. Say bye to everybody. Say bye to everyone.
There it is.
There he is.
There he is.
Look at him. Alrighty. Night, bud. All right. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for watching.
Just grab him, W puss. Yeah. Grab the possum by the face. All right. See you guys. We'll see you next time. Tuesday, Luke will be back. We'll be I forget who we have on, but we'll post about it on Sunday, I'm sure. So bye, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.